there, Great Central Region, back talking about a very exciting time in the summer, and that is the first week of July, which includes the 4th of July, which is right in the middle of the week this year, by the way. So right now, as you're watching this, you're probably still in the tail end of June here, and you're doing some future planning. Your managers are probably talking to you about SC2 and getting you rallied up and excited about that. And I'll tell you, you should have major reason to be excited about that, because huge things come your way when you get into SC2. You're going to see things in the business you've never seen before. In fact, hopefully you're going to be participating in them. You're going to be on a 10K alliance, and you're going to be building things like never before. But when you go into that, prior to that, because that push week starts on the 9th, when you go into that, you want to go in the right way. The 4th of July weekend, or the 4th of July week, I should say, is a tremendous time to take advantage of the opportunity and to really go for it. See, here's how people do things the wrong way. I've been in martial arts my whole life. I happen to be a second-degree black belt. And one of the things that I remember happening early in my martial arts career and watching this that I always found interesting was there would be people who would become black belts and then really let themselves go. Now, it's one thing for a person to just kind of age in time and move away from that as an interest and to go do different things, no doubt about it. But it's a totally different thing for a person to remain a black belt, wearing their black belt, and to go into the dojo where all the workouts are, but to never work out. To literally strut around in their black belts as their bellies hanging over the belts, okay, in a way that when somebody says, "Can you show me a kick?" they can't even do it. Now that's different than the 80-year-old martial artist who's been around for a long time and they're aging and they're there to teach and to educate. I'm talking about the person who could still be in that shape, is still young enough to be in that shape, but they don't. They earn the black belt and they stop training. What is the purpose? What is the purpose of earning a black belt and then stop training? At that point now, yellow belts and blue belts could probably beat the black belt in a sparring match. I would rather have a yellow or a blue belt on and beat a black belt than to have a black belt on and lose to a yellow or blue belt. It doesn't make sense. The challenge that I'm giving you right now, depending on when you started, some of you just started, is to really start amping it up. To say, hey, now I'm at 20%, now I'm at 25%, now I'm at 30%. I want to exercise that even more. I don't want to waste it. I don't want to get fat around my commission belt. Okay, I want to exercise what I'm doing and take it to the next level. 4th of July week is a great opportunity to do that in order to set up your black belt times. Your black belt times are about to come through SC2 through SC3 right till the end of the summer. That's the thing about it. Right now you're going through those belt rankings, metaphorically speaking, and once you get to those highest levels, you want to really, really take that to the next level. You're in process for that right now. And I want you to set yourself up the right way for SC2. I talked about Memorial Day weekend for those of you that were around at that time, and I talked about how, culturally speaking, Memorial Day weekend is an absolutely brilliant time for a person to sell. Why? Because it's that whole idea of memorializing and thanking those who gave us our independence, which is something that I hold dear to my heart personally too. But it puts you in this independence mode, and it allows you to go into the summertime where things are getting warmer and people are in exciting times because they're looking forward to what's happening in the summer. And they have this kind of American culture, independent, weekend, family-oriented type of thing. We have an American-made product that people use to cook, to be in family environments. So it actually just folds together so well. Now, on top of that, retail establishments are very into these sorts of holidays. So let's move from Memorial Day into 4th of July. Many of you already know that on Memorial Day weekend, there are people in your offices that had grand days all over the place, huge sales reports. I don't have to convince you of anything. You know, going into 4th of July weekend, you've got a gold mine ahead of you. Others maybe didn't experience that because you started later, or maybe you, for some reason, were not able to work through that weekend and you missed that opportunity. So if you are unfamiliar with what happens, just take a look at every retail establishment. It's going to say 4th of July sale. People are going to get super excited from a retail perspective on the 4th of July. Because again, what do you have? The longest days of the summer. Okay? They're bright, they're warm, they're excited, people are more relaxed. It is an absolute objective fact that people spend more money on vacation times, and holidays than they do other times of the year, because they basically say this is a time to enjoy, this is a time to relax, this is a time where the reward is. Well, a lot of times they're spending money on things that they're just going to go away. They're spending money on a party, a lot of money on a party or a vacation or a hotel or whatever it happens to be, and it's gone. Here, they're going to want to buy something that they can use every day for the rest of their life that's never going to wear out, go out of style, and they'll think about that Independence Day when they actually sat down and they placed that order, whether it was the day before, the day after, the day of, whatever it happens to be. Now, I'm sure you're going to want to take some time to celebrate Independence Day yourself, and I hope you do. And in fact, it's my favorite holiday of the year outside of religious holidays. It's absolutely a time that I smile from the time I wake up until the time that I go to bed. I love the day. But the thing is how do you use it? Do you need 3-4 days to do the same sort of thing? Generally speaking, especially as a college student, you got to make hay while the sun is shining. And there's only so much time for you to make money for your school and your education and other things. So I would take some time to enjoy it. But at the same time, you could still work in 2 or 3 appointments, maybe in the morning or in the afternoon, especially the day before. You could maybe even do 5 and the day after as well too. Some of you are going to go for it all day on Independence Day and then just go out for the fireworks because the following day you're going to have a barbecue with your friends, whatever it might be. I don't know your schedule, I don't know your family's schedule, but I do know this, speaking from experience as a rep and speaking from 23 years of experience in this business, you can actually have your cake and eat it too during this holiday. And the reason that I want you to have your cake and eat it too is because the fruit of that is actually so good because the buying experience is higher. Now, you are going to make probably 30% more phone calls to get the number of appointments that you have. Some people are going to say this, oh, everybody's out of town. That's literally impossible. Never has there ever been a time where everybody is actually out of town. Now, if most days, common days throughout the year, about 4% of the population, and I actually don't know what it is, but let's say it's 4% of the population is traveling, okay? At this time, it's going to be probably 2 or 3 times that, okay? But that doesn't mean that you need to make 2 or 3 times the number of phone calls. The percentage is still small. It's like when people say, unemployment is huge now. You know, it's 9%. Yeah, that is big. There is no doubt about it. It's terrific and we need to lower it. However, employment is still 91%. So more than 9 out of 10 people you know who want to work are actually working. And so if a person to say, well, I can't sell because unemployment is high, is to actually miss the mark where the majority of people are actually not unemployed. Same thing here. To say everybody's out of town is a complete miscommunication about what happens during the July 4th holiday and throughout this period of time in the week. So, but it does require a little bit more work, and to not acknowledge that would be to be just as bad as to throw the whole thing out. So I would say you probably want to make about 30% more phone calls than you normally would to get the same number of appointments, but those appointments very likely are going to be even 30% more valuable than what you would normally have. So it's a time to go for it, and it's a time to super hyper build into SC2. You don't want to go into SC2 relaxing and coasting. It's like, what does that matter? Go back to the martial arts example. There's something called trading punches, and that's you throw a punch, somebody else throws an equal punch at the same time. Well, who cares that you threw a punch if the other person hit you in the same way? So if you're like, I'm going to really have this huge SC2, and pretty much I'm going to take off before that and take off after that, it doesn't matter. If your sales report for SC2 were spread over 3 weeks and be solid each week, then what have you really gained at SC2? So have a killer sales report going into it, have a hyper sales report at SC2, and then have a killer sales report right after SC2, and then you know you're doing it right.